Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. Hour 2, quarter number 2, kick it off right now on this Monday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us to begin your rainy start, if it is raining where you're at. It's rainy and windy here in the valley. But whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, or streaming us up online at sportstalk1051.com, WAYYradio.com. You've also got the YouTube video stream up and rolling. So join in on the Section 105 chats over there, all right? But we spent the first hour talking some draft, recapping the Packers picks, taking a look at your thoughts. What was your favorite pick, or who was your favorite pick? Also, give me maybe what was the most surprising part of the draft for your favorite team, too. Kind of like, were you surprised they didn't address this position? Or, wow, I actually can't believe they got this person or this player. What do you got? All right, let me know. I want to hear your analysis. Okay, we got that Shoe Doctors bullpen lineup. Again, we've got the Section 105 chat up and rolling. So before the draft, though, on Friday, before the Packers made their first pick, the news dropped that the Packers had re-signed Jayden Reed to an extension, a 3-year contract extension worth a little over $50 million, including $20 million guaranteed. I didn't have that on my bingo card this past weekend. But I'll tell you what, I'm not opposed to it either. You know, of the upcoming, maybe we put Lucas Van Ness into this here too. I don't know, because now we got to figure out if they got to figure out if they're going to do the 5th-year option. But Watson, Tucker Kraft, throw a little Devontae Wyatt, a little Lucas Van Ness, and Jayden Reed. I thought Jayden Reed was going to was towards the bottom in terms of the priority list. And apparently we got that all wrong. We got that wrong. Jayden Reed was the first one to get that contract. And again, I'm not opposed to it, because I think Jayden Reed's one of the better playmakers on this ball club. He is everybody just kind of slots him into just a slot receiver. But he could do so much more than that. He could do a lot of different things within your offense. And I think getting him at this deal is actually a win for the Packers. I think for 3 years, a little over $50 million, with only $20 million guaranteed, I think is a nice deal for the Packers. I really do. And I think this also maybe kind of influenced the draft a little bit. Because Goody did acknowledge, too, I mean, he talked to the media on Friday, as he does after every round of the draft and such. But, you know, he did say that that's still a priority for this team, for this ball club, to sign Christian Watson to an extension, which I think a majority of us would like to see. I think the biggest, maybe, I don't know if hiccup would be the right way to say it, but I feel like, you know, you look at Watson's injury history. That has to be a factor into this. And I'm sure, you know, Russ Ball and the Packers are, you know, in their negotiating, are taking a look at that. You know, you start, maybe call it low ball if you want, but you start at that. Watson and his camp, they're starting high. They see what these receivers are now getting. I think we can all agree that when Watson is healthy and he's on the field, he is a dynamic receiver and probably the number one wide receiver on this roster. And Goody did say that the Packers, quote, absolutely are able to extend Christian Watson and Tucker Kraft even after Jaden Reed's deal. He said it's long-term planning that he and Russ Ball spend a lot of time on. Quote, we let a lot of really good players walk out of here this past offseason with the thought process that there are some guys we really want to lock up. That'll be the intention. We'll see where it goes, but I don't foresee anything being a problem. So Watson, to me, he ain't going anywhere. He's going to be there. They've got Reed locked up. They've got Matthew Golden. You throw Savion Williams into there. And Matt LaFleur, he also chatted with the media on Saturday for a little bit. And he was asked about, team losing Romeo Dobbs and then trading Dontavian Wicks. By the way, I don't know if anybody else saw this. This was a while ago, but Dontavian Wicks posted a picture of his locker in Philly, and there's a picture in a frame of him and Matt LaFleur like hugging or something like that on the sideline. So I don't know. You could go again to the whole, was he the guy or was he one of the guys complaining about reps and such? But Matt LaFleur was asked about the departures of Romeo Dobbs and Dontavian Wicks without drafting a wide receiver to replace them, how that changes maybe the offense. And his response pretty much was, quote, it was hard to get everybody the amount of targets we'd like to get them. So I think Reed, Watson, Golden, Tucker, maybe throw a little Savion Williams. Sky Moore I know is on there, but to me, he's going to be more of the special teams. Green Bay for the longest time saying, hey, depth, spreading the ball around, this, that, the other thing. We don't need a number one wide receiver and all that. Now I think they're like, okay, maybe we got to focus on making sure we get the ball to our top playmakers, making sure that we really focus and feature some of these players a little bit more on the offensive side. And it makes sense. And I think, you lock up Reed. They're going to lock up Watson. They have Golden under contract for a little bit. They invested a third-round pick on Savion Williams. They're going to re-sign Tucker Kraft. That's a lot of offensive weapons that you're investing some money into. You got to make sure you're getting them the ball. And you got to make sure that you are making them a priority within this offense. And I think that's something that we're going to see more of a focus on, at least this season. So now, before the draft started, I thought maybe Green Bay would invest in a wide receiver mid-rounds in that. The Reed signing, I think, took care of that. And maybe just the overall vision of where this offense or what Matt LaFleur wants this offense to go back to. Hey, we're really just going to feature our main dudes, our main studs, because we've got a few of them. And honestly, let's be real. When you add in Watson, Reed, Golden, Kraft, 3 receivers and a top tight end, that's more than what a lot of teams on offense probably have, and you got to figure out a way to get the ball to those 4. Oh, and by the way, you got a running back. You look at Philadelphia, and they've got a boatload of receivers in Saquon too. So, but I think we'd be all good if we can get a little bit more opportunities for Golden and continue to get a lot of opportunities for Watson, for Kraft, and Jaden Reed. And you look at those guys too. They all kind of bring a little bit something different to the table, right? I mean, Watson's your big wide receiver on the perimeter. He's got the speed. Matthew Gold's got speed. He's got great hands. Jaden Reed's kind of the Swiss Army knife. Tucker Kraft's probably your best blocking tight end, but he's a major threat in the passing game. Josh Jacobs is a good threat in the passing game too. Goody did say, though, if there was one thing that he probably would have liked to have gotten in the draft was another wide tight end, another inline tight end, blocking tight end, maybe somebody similar to a Tucker Kraft. So maybe that's kind of something that Green Bay is going to continue to look at. But now I think we're also entering that second, third, fourth, whatever phase you're free or whatever we want to call it, a free agency. Because now, okay, teams, they've addressed certain positions, certain areas with draft picks. Now you're probably going to see teams revisit, okay, who's left out there in free agency? Who can we bring in for a veteran for a 1-year deal. Now you're going to see some of these veterans maybe starting to sign on those 1-year deals because teams now know, okay, we weren't able to address this in the draft. Let's look at bringing in a veteran for a year. If you're Green Bay after the draft right now, what would you do in terms of this next wave of free agency? Is it bringing in another defensive tackle like a Calais Campbell? Is it looking for maybe another veteran offensive lineman to be a backup? Is it a veteran tight end? So if you are Goody right now, after this draft, put yourself in that GM shoes, what's a position that maybe you would address in this next wave? Let's call it the veteran free agency. Because a lot of these guys, if not all of them, it's going to be like 1-year deals. What would be that position group that you would like to see? Maybe kind of plug in a few holes here. Hit me up. Let me know. All right. Okay, we got to take a quick break. Plenty more football talk throughout this morning. Let's talk some Brewers baseball. Kyle Harrison looking really, really good yesterday. But the Brewers dropping 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. So they are just sitting 1 game above 500 right now. So we'll take a quick break and be back with plenty more coming up after these quick words. Hey, sometimes accidents happen, but getting your vehicle back to normal does not have to be stressful. And at Superior Auto Body, they specialize in getting your vehicle looking right again after dents, dings, or collisions. And the best part is that they handle the insurance process for you, working directly with your provider to make things simple and hassle-free. No runaround, no confusion, just quality of work and a team that's got your back every single step of the way. So get your vehicle back on the road with confidence. That's Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, where the job gets done right. Switching gears and chatting a little baseball here this morning. Not the greatest of weekends here for the Brewer crew as they dropped their series against the Pirates, only winning yesterday's contest. But let's go back to Friday night's game. Paul Skeens versus Brandon Woodruff. Advantage, Paul Skeens. Brewers only 1 hit, and thanks to Jake Bowers for breaking up the perfect game going up against Paul Skeens. Connor Griffin hitting his first ever career home run as well. But the Pirates had 14 total bases in that game. Skeens ended up going 7 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Whereas Brandon Woodruff, who got charged with the loss, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, a couple walks, 3 Ks. Drowan coming in relief, going 4 innings, giving up 1 earned run and a couple of Ks. But not a whole lot to write home about in terms of hits because, well, I mean, when you only have 1 hit and 1 walk, not really a whole lot to talk about. So going to Saturday's game with the Miz kid, Jacob Mizorowski on the mound. Thinking, all right, bounce back. We got our own fireballer out there, right? Flamethrower out there. We'll bounce back. Well, extra innings, Brewers fall 6-3. I mean, it was Pirates go up by 2 in the top of the 4th. Brewers put up 2 at the top of the 4th. Pirates go up 3-2. Brewers tie it 3-3. A lot of sacrifice flies, sacrifice hits for the Brewers to tie that up, and they had opportunities. In the ninth inning, maybe to get the winning run across the board. They weren't able to do it, and Pirates made them pay by putting up 3 runs in the top of the 10th to take the 6-3 lead, and the Brewers not able to do anything in the bottom of the 10th inning to get that or to tie it up or to keep that game going. Mizorowski went 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 9 Ks, in issuing 1 walk. Angel Zerpa getting charged with a loss, giving up 1 hit, 1 earned run, but 3 runs total in the game. So Brewers then facing a potential sweep yesterday, and you get the young flamethrower Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Brew Crew, and boy, did he step up to the challenge here. He looked awesome, picking up his second win yesterday. going six innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, but striking out 12. Brewers able to shut down that Pirates offense, and the Brewers able to put up 5 runs. All the runs coming in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bauer's collecting a couple of hits to lead the way, but Brewers able to do, well, thanks to Harrison pitching a gem and then getting at least some offense in 1 inning, able to pick up the 5-0 victory to avoid the sweep. Brewers now 14-13 on the season. They're tied with the Cardinals for last in the division, 3.5 back from the top team, the Cincinnati Reds right now. But Kyle Harrison, let's talk about some of the positivity that we saw from this weekend, and I think we go with Kyle Harrison. Obviously, this is a dude that came over, part of the Red Sox trade, and lo and behold, Caleb Durbin hit a home run this weekend. Andrew Monasterio, I think, hit a grand slam that I see too. But Kyle Harrison was kind of talked about as this could be the main piece or the prize piece in this trade. A lot of talent, younger pitcher, but put him in with this Brewers pitching lab, with this Brewers pitching coach or pitch coach staff, and see what this kid can do. And, well, this kid, he's been really impressive. You go back to his first start against Tampa Bay. He went 5 innings, 1 earned run, giving up a home run. Against Kansas City in his second career start, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs. Against Washington, 4 1/3, 2 earned runs. Against Detroit, three innings, 1 earned run. And against Pittsburgh now, 6 innings, went over 100 pitches, 12 Ks, no earned runs. Kyle Harrison so far this season, he is 2-1 with a 2.28 ERA with 30 strikeouts in 5 games started. The kid, is showing exactly why the Brewers, I think, wanted him as part of this deal to send over Caleb Durbin and essentially all of their third basemen to bring him over. He looked really good. We've seen glimpses of this in spring training. We saw it in the final tune-up against the Reds at American Family Field. We've seen glimpses of it throughout the season. I mean, his first start against Tampa Bay, going out there and throwing 8 strikeouts for crying out loud. The guy's got a lot of talent, and there's a lot to be excited about with Kyle Harrison going forward. Dude looks the part. He absolutely looks the part. But you look at the Brewers' offense right now, and boy, they need Jackson Chourio. They need Christian Yelich. They've got to get some more bats, some consistency in this lineup from the offensive side of things. We're probably playing with some fool's gold. We're probably playing with a little house money, able to rack up a lot of these wins, and we called it treading the water, right? Treading the water until a lot of these guys came back. And, well, right now it would really be nice if we can get some of those guys back here sooner rather than later, especially maybe Jackson Chourio and such. We need some more firepower in that lineup, in that offensive lineup. Got to figure out a way to get that done. In terms of pitching, just really quick, a Quinn Priester update. Don't expect Quinn Priester back anytime soon because he had another rehab start. And while if you look at it from a box score perspective, it may look better than his first game. And honestly, it probably was a little bit better. He's still struggling, though, to find the strike zone. So on Sunday, he walked 3 batters and found the strike zone with only 18 of his 45 pitches. So right now, there is no rush to bring up Quinn Priester. Brewers don't really have any injuries from their starting unit, knock on wood. And I think even if Priester gets those control issues, figured out and he's ready to go, maybe he's better suited to come in as a bullpen option. But right now, I don't think there's any pressure or any rush to get him in, to get him on the Major League Ball Club. They've got better options right now with a Logan Henderson or even a Coleman Crowe if they needed a starter. But that's something right now Quinn Priester's facing This challenge that he's facing is figuring out his control issues, figuring out that part of it. And even like his miles per hour is just a little tick down. But you look at the standings right now across the NL Central, as we mentioned, the Brewers tied with the Cardinals for last place. The Cincinnati Reds are 18-10, which means the Brewers and the Cardinals are 3.5 games back from them. The Cubs are in second at 17-11. Pittsburgh, 16-12. 16-12. Looking at the Cardinals, and this is still really early going, but the Cardinals right now haven't gone up against any teams that have a 500 or better winning percentage. This will be the first series for the Cardinals going up against the Pirates for that. Pirates have gone up against teams with a 500 or better winning percentage 12 times already, and they're 7-5. So just throwing a little nugget out there. But Cubbies are 2-4 against teams who are 500 or better. Brewers 1-2 along with the Cincinnati Reds. So, all right, we'll take a quick break. Don't forget to submit your VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. Send those on over. All right, text it to us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or you can hit us up on the Section 105 chat room. All right, we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. As the fields are coming back to life, it's time for spring sports here in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're stepping up to the plate or hitting the track or getting back on the field, make sure that your body is ready to perform. And at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, their team specializes in keeping athletes of all ages healthy, strong, and in the game. From injury prevention to expert care and recovery, they've got you covered every single step of the season. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines. Get back in the game with confidence. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better to play stronger and staying in the game. Evil Surveyor said his worst from the weekend. Well, what's your best, though, too, man? You got to do best and worst. Worst, all the parents and siblings that are interviewed after their brother or son is drafted and make it all about themselves in the 30-second interview. My VFW Post 305 best and worst from the weekend. I'll start off with my best. You guys, gals, see the Navy running back that was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers? Eli Haydenreich, 230th overall, 7th round. He is a Pittsburgh native, was there to draft, got to go on the stage, meet Roger Goodell and such. It was such a cool thing to see. And that's stuff like that, seeing that was awesome. The emotion from Eli too. I mean, come on. How can you not be romantic about sports, right? So for me, I'll pick that as my best of the weekend. My worst of the weekend, T-Wolves fans. You're up 3-1, but man, Dante DiVincenzo, an Achilles tear, Anthony Edwards, at least it's not an ACL, but boy, that when you see the knee go backwards, it just gives me the chills thinking about it. It gave me flashbacks of Giannis and that championship run that season too. So, but he's out with a hyperextended knee and a bone bruise, which is going to be, right now reports say it's going to be out for a few weeks. So we'll see, if Minnesota can keep staying alive, win this series against the Nuggets, move on to the next round, and maybe, hopefully, Anthony Edwards will be back sooner rather than later. But given what that video looked like of his knee injury, you're probably saying, at least it's that and not a torn ACL. But I'm putting that as the worst because you don't want to see that in the postseason. I don't care what team or who it is. When it gets to the postseason, I hate seeing injuries like that. Especially where for like Dante DiVincenzo, I mean, it's going to affect him next year. And what's going on with all the Achilles tears? I saw somebody, and I'm not an expert in this, but I saw somebody post up on, I think it was Twitter. Is it something with the traction on the shoes now? All these different shoes, all these different sneakers, the different designs and that sort of, is it something with traction now? I don't know. And I don't want to pretend to know because I just don't. But man, it feels like there's a lot more of these. I mean, obviously with the football world and such, but I mean, look at the NBA. Dame, right? Jason Tatum, Tyrese, Dante DiVincenzo. And a lot of them are towards the end of the season, too. So I know fatigue is a part of it with the muscles and ligaments and tendons and that. But, man, I feel like there's got to be something else going on, too. Especially, it was weird. But hopefully the T-Wolves can keep this thing going until Anthony Edwards comes back and maybe make a nice little run here. But when you look at where things are at right now in terms of the NBA playoffs, when you're looking at how things are, we got Cleveland, Toronto. That series is now tied at 2 apiece. San Antonio's up 3-1. Boston's up 3-1. Houston avoiding being swept by the Lakers even without KD. But the Lakers are up 3-1 in that series as well. That one, ooh. I thought Houston would at least be a little bit better, but apparently not. Orlando has a big opportunity tonight. They're going up against the top seed Detroit. They're up 2-1 in this series. Orlando wins tonight. Woo. OKC could sweep Phoenix with a win tonight. And then Minnesota, as we were just talking about, the T-Wolves, if they win tonight at Denver, they will be moving on too. That series has been chippy. We know the rivalry. They've got so many different connections from players and even front office, staff and such. So, I mean, there's connections galore. But, yeah, we're definitely seeing the chippiness of this series. Best of the weekend. Oh, man. Evil says, best of the weekend. Shout out to my buddy who shot a 25-pound double-bearded gobbler. Dang. Got any picks to share for that? If anybody's had any luck in the woods for turkey season, send them on over to the Sports Talk Facebook page so we can post them up and do a little brag board on our Sports Talk Facebook page. That's awesome. So, and with opening fishing coming up this weekend too, don't forget to send over those photos if you have any luck out there so you can do a little bragging as well. So, but Stanley Cup playoffs going, since we're talking some postseason and such, with where we're at on how things stand. So yesterday we had a few games. Buffalo picking up the win to move up to a 3-1 lead over Boston. Colorado's moving on. They did a complete sweep over the Kings with their 5-1 victory yesterday. Tampa Bay and Montreal. Tampa Bay picking up the win to even up that series at 2 wins apiece. And then Anaheim picking up the overtime victory over Edmonton to take a 3-1 series lead. Philadelphia, if they win tonight against Pittsburgh, they will be moving on in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Vegas and Utah are also at it tonight. Utah is currently leading that series at 2-1. So that's where things are kind of standing right now with the Stanley Cup playoffs. Which one, if you've been following both the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs, anyone kind of jumping out more to you? There's been some good games in the NBA, especially with some of these T-Wolves and Nuggets games. I like what Orlando's doing, giving Detroit a big run for their money, but I still gravitate towards Stanley Cup hockey, playoff hockey. Man alive, that's some good watching there. But switching gears really quick over to Major League Baseball, or I should say back to Major League Baseball. So we were talking about the NL Central and the Brewers and such, but kind of taking a look at where things are at across Major League Baseball. The AL East. Big news yesterday with Alex Cora and a lot of his coaches, the Red Sox, firing Alex Cora. Even Red Sox royalty Jason Vertek. They're out. A lot of the coaches out. And right now, when you look at where Boston's at, they're 11-17. They were a popular pick to not only go to the postseason, but some people kind of thought maybe going to the World Series. And right now, dead last in that division, and they're 7 games back from the Yankees. And now they got Toronto coming up here. So, big move in the AL East with the Red Sox letting go of a lot of their coaches, including their manager, Alex Cora. But the Yankees lead that division 18-10. Tampa Bay just still doing Tampa Bay things, hanging around. They're 1.5 back. They're in second. Those are the only 2 teams in the American League East right now with records who are records 500 or better. Everybody else is below 500. Baltimore, who's in third, is 13-15. Toronto's 12-15. Boston's 11-17. Same with the AL Central. Just two teams with winning records or 500 or better. That's Cleveland and the Tigers. Both are at 15-14. I feel like this is almost, how many times in the last few years has this AL Central been a team that, I don't know, like it's win-loss record. I feel like there's a lot of times it's been really close to this. But Minnesota, they're 1-9 in their last 10. So I'm sorry, Twins fans, we probably jinxed you, giving you a lot of praise to your start, but you deserved it. But they have lost their last 5 and are now 1-9 in their last 10. The White Sox 11-17. Kansas City 11-17. Another disappointing start for a team that came in with a lot of expectations for this year. To round out the AL, how about the AL West? One team with a winning record, and that is the Athletics, baby. 15-13. All right. Texas is at 500, 14-14. Seattle's 14-15, but they have won 4 in a row, so look out. And now they've got the Twinnies of Minnesota. Angels 12-17, and Houston sitting there at 11-18. Moving to the National League side of things, Atlanta, continuing their hot starts to the season. They are 20-9 right now. They are the first team in Major League Baseball to 20 wins. Miami, they're in second, and they're 6.5 back. Atlanta is the only team in the National League East with a winning record or 500 or better record. Miami is in second at 13-15. Washington, 13-16. Philadelphia, 9-19, 1-9 in their last 10. And the Mets, back to another losing streak. They've lost 3 in a row, 9-19. The Phillies and the Mets tied for last place in the NL East, 10 games under 500. Whew. Gotta wonder if there's going to be some decisions made over there, too. The NL West, Dodgers doing their thing. They're 19-9. Padres, they're keeping things tight, though. They're 18-9. They're just a half game back from the Dodgers. Diamondbacks, the team that the Brewers are going to begin a series with starting tomorrow. They're 3 games above 500. 15-12, just 3.5 back. You got the Giants at 13-15, and the Rockies. I think the Rockies are playing better, even though they're in last. They're 13-16. I think the Rockies are actually surprising some people for maybe playing better than what people expected or thought they were going to do this year. And then, of course, the Central, which we already went through, the Reds, Cubs, Pirates. The top 3, Brewers, Cardinals. The bottom 2, Brewers and Cardinals, 3.5 back from that top spot. So this NL Central is still the only division where every single team has a winning record or 500 and better. All right, we got to take our final break right before we hit up halftime. So if you're just joining in, give me your best and worst of the weekends, your thoughts on your favorite team's draft. I'm not looking for letter grades here because I don't think you can grade letter grades. I think that's kind of pointless with rookie classes and such. But give me what you think was the best pick for your favorite team and what surprised you the most from your favorite team's draft. Maybe it was something that they didn't address that you thought they were going to. Or maybe I can't believe they actually got this guy. All right, hit me up. We'll take a quick break before we start to wrap up the second hour. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Road trip season is right around the corner. Are you and your vehicle ready to go the distance? Hey, before you hit the highway, make sure that your vehicle is in top shape with the help from AJM Automotive. From oil changes and tire checks to brakes and engine work, their experienced team will make sure that you are ready for wherever the road takes you. And now with 2 convenient locations in Eau Claire, getting your vehicle serviced has never been easier. So plan a trip and AJM Automotive will handle the rest. Just visit ajmautomotiveservices.com to schedule your appointment. All right, we got a few minutes left until the top of the hour when we get to halftime here. So coming up next hour, we'll kick it off. No JC and EC, so I'll do a quick version of some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. For Blue Golds and such, it's final week of the regular season for baseball and softball. Then we get to WIAC conference tournament time. So that's coming up here really quick. But We'll do a quick version of our local sports roundup. With that, we'll continue with your picks for best and worst of the weekend, brought to you by VFW Post 305. Also, we'll do a little Glory Days, probably in the 9 o'clock hour, brought to you by our good friends from Summer Jam in Eau Claire. Play more draft talk, football chats coming your way too. If you haven't had a chance to chime in and such, I don't care if you're a Packers fan, a Vikings fan, Bears, Lions, Browns, name the team. Give me your assessment of your draft class. Do you like what the team did? Don't give me a letter grade because we can't grade rookies until we actually see it in a couple years. But how do you think, from the class, who was your favorite player that your team drafted? Or who was the player that you're most intrigued with? What maybe was the most surprising pick for you? All right. I know you all got him. So let me know. Give me your thoughts. Text it on over. Or hit us up on that Section 105 chat. But we'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. Again, reminder, no Brewers game today. So no Brewers game on the radio and such. But they'll be back at it tomorrow when they take on the Diamondbacks. First pitch is going to be at 6:40 for both Tuesday and Wednesday. And then their getaway day, 12:40, coming your way Thursday before they hit the road to take on the Nationals this weekend. So, but get a break from some Brewers baseball, and hopefully maybe this offense can get a little bit more consistent. Right now, they're winless in those Wisco jerseys, so maybe they're actually bad luck at this point in time. Man, when does that superstition start to creep through? Because right now it's there for me with those Wisco jerseys. Man, gotta do something. Gotta do something to get the bad mojo off those jerseys. But anyways, got a few texts to catch up on about some of their favorite players from this Packers draft. Nick, a little bit earlier, said that his favorite pick was the edge rusher from Penn State. So I think in a couple of years he's going to be a starter along with Micah Parsons. Another texter, don't have a name, can't give you any cred, but they liked Brandon, the first pick, the first corner in the second round. And then David said he actually likes the kicker that the Packers got in the sixth round. I think McManus is going to be on his way out, and Goody's going to flip him for another pick for the 2027 draft. Another texter, Eric, says his favorite pick is Brandon, the second-round pick again. That seems to be kind of the leader in the clubhouse. So I don't know if that's just because he's was the first one for a lot of people, or he fits a big need or not. But if you want, feel free to tell me kind of why he or what player is your favorite. Because, for example, Greg had chimed in a little bit earlier and said that his favorite pick was the defensive tackle from Missouri, Chris McKellen, because he is a massive human being, huge arms and hands. I think he's going to be a factor in terms of pushing the pocket up the middle and deflecting some passes. He did a ton of that in college. I think he is the anchor in the middle with Hargrave and Devontae Wyatt on either side of him. Another pick for Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State. That comes from Mike. And we did have another one for the interior lineman, Burton. That comes from Ben. He says, I think Burton is going to eventually be the starting guard, maybe even starting center if they move Ryan back to guard. I think this is going to be a guy that replaces Aaron Banks maybe even before the season is over with. Again, whether he replaces Banks at guard or maybe Ryan moves back to guard and Burton goes to center. So, all right, keep those coming. Okay, keep them coming. Packers ended up with only 6 picks. It's a small draft class for a GM that likes to have as many picks possible. Even joked about maybe having 20 picks now for next year to kind of make up for it for this year. I hope people didn't take him too seriously, okay? So, but do you like what Green Bay did this past weekend? Do you like the potential for some of these players? Do you like, hey, trading up to maybe get the best kicker in the draft? Kid's got a big leg on him. Do you like that Green Bay's doing that? Even let me throw this scenario to you. Let's say, okay, you're looking at this thing. Would you still carry two kickers to open up the season just in case? Let's say Smack is kicking lights out, but Manus has a solid camp too. Would you carry two just to protect yourselves, just to be careful? What would you do? I know it's way early to project that, but look at what happened last year a little bit. Would you carry two kickers just to protect yourself because you do have a rookie? Or if the rookie lights it up in training camp and in preseason, roll with the kid. What would you do? All right, we'll take